If you want wider, thicker shoulders, then there's a specific part of the shoulder that you need to focus on developing. I'll show you how to fix the 4 things limiting your growth in this area. Apply this to your next workout and you'll feel your shoulders working like never before. So the shoulders, also known as the delts, can be divided into 3 regions: the front, the side, and the rear. The front delt is heavily involved in many pressing movements like the bench press and shoulder press, and often becomes overdeveloped as a result. The rear delt is important for rounding out the back of the shoulder, but won't be the focus of this video. But the side delts, these are what's responsible for creating broad, wide shoulders, and are what you need to focus on building up. As for what the best exercise is to build up this region, multiple studies like this 2013 paper have compared the muscle activation of the side delts during several shoulder exercises. What comes out on top? A popular exercise that you're probably already doing, the dumbbell lateral raise. However, while it is a great must-do exercise to build up your side delts, if you look beyond just muscle activation, you'll find that there are 4 major flaws that people overlook with this exercise and their side delt training in general that slows down growth and likelihood of injury. First reason, every exercise has what's known as a resistance profile. This is simply how an exercise challenges your muscle as you perform it. To maximally grow a muscle, you need to use exercises that have different resistance profiles. In the case of the side delt, most unknowingly use just one by relying on the traditional lateral raise. Pay attention the next time you perform the movement and you can actually feel the resistance profile. When your arms are down by your side, you'll notice there's no tension on your delts. Then, as you begin to raise, more and more tension is being placed on the delts until it reaches maximal tension and becomes most challenging at the top. To stimulate more growth though, you'll want to also perform an exercise that has the opposite resistance profile, where it's most difficult at the bottom and easiest at the top. If you have the equipment handy, one way to do this is by grabbing a cable, set up the height so that it's at the level of your wrist, and perform a one-handed lateral raise. The tension from the cable makes this movement most challenging at the bottom and drops off as you raise. If you only have dumbbells, however, there are 2 exercises that we can do that will create the same effect of making the move most difficult during the bottom half. The first exercise accomplishes this by manipulating your body position. To perform it, grab a dumbbell with one hand, use the other arm to hold onto a fixture, and slowly step away to the side until you're leaned in with your torso angled at about 30 degrees. From here, perform your raise, stopping at your torso on the way down. The second exercise changes the resistance profile by using momentum. Although in most cases momentum is a bad thing, it can be helpful if you know how to properly use it. In this case, we'll apply it by performing a standard lateral raise, but raising your arms out explosively using a bit of momentum at the bottom, and then letting that momentum swing your arms to the top. This allows you to challenge the delts the most at the bottom, whereas the top now becomes the easiest because you're reaching that position not by using your delts, but by relying on momentum. So what you want to do is make sure to include both of these resistance profiles in your routine, which I'll show you how to properly do later on in this video. But these exercises will only be effective if you apply the next tip, which has to do with technique. Lateral raises seem like a simple exercise, but there's 3 mistakes in particular that are most common. First mistake, despite the name of the exercise, your arms shouldn't actually be directly out to your sides when you perform it. This position not only fails to maximize the tension placed on the side delt by getting other muscles involved, but it's also a riskier position for your shoulder to be in, especially if you have pre-existing shoulder injuries. Instead, research suggests that for both a safer position for your shoulder and a stronger position for your side delts, move into what's known as the scapular plane. It's a very subtle tweak, but you're going to notice the difference right away, and it involves moving your arms just 20 to 30 degrees in front of you and maintaining the angle as you raise the weight. Applying a slight lean forward as you do this will also help boost side delt activation even more. The second mistake has to do with your hands. Many people believe that turning your hands inwards so that your pinkies end up higher than your thumbs at the end position will help better activate the side delts. This actually leads to the opposite effect though, by engaging more of your rotator cuff muscles while also playing your shoulder at a greater risk for injury. Instead, keep your hand flat or with your thumbs just slightly higher than your pinkies at the top position. The last mistake has to do with how you actually think about the raise. Rather than thinking about raising the weight up, which tends to activate more of your traps, You can engage the side delts much more by instead thinking about pushing your hands out to the sides towards the walls. So to put it together simply, it'll look like this. Lean forward slightly, raise in the scapular plane, and think about pushing your hands out, not up. Try it out and you'll be pleasantly surprised with how much better it feels.